Regan Slaymaker for International Boxing News, and I have the pleasure to be joined by former world champion Carl Frampton at York Hall ahead of a great fight night. Carl, how are you, and looking forward to the fights ahead tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. I think it's a good warm-up for what we're going to see next week. Really good card, competitive fights, some good fighters on the bill as well. Yeah, I think it's a magic lead-up into what we're going to see next week.
No, definitely. What would you say your pick of the bunch is tonight? Because there's three title fights. I mean, Garner-Dillon's my pick of the bunch, but what is your pick of the bunch?
Well, that fight, Garner-Dillon, I like both guys a lot. I know Ryan Garner. I've done a lot of sparring with him when he was kind of starting out in his pro journey, and I was an established. I think I may have been a world champion at the time. I remember being really surprised by how good he was and how aggressive and how strong he was. Really good fight, but the top of the bill fight is, I think it's a good fight. You have to give Denzel Bentley a lot of credit for taking a fight like BentleyDignum, coming off the Nathan Heaney defeat. You could have excused him for taking an easier fight, but he wants to be involved in big fights and fights that keep him momentum going and keep him kind of amongst the top 15, top 10 in the world. So this fight, it's a good fight for him. It's a competitive fight. But I still just about fancy Denzel in it.
No, definitely, and when they've both kind of had those losses to Janabek, Alam Kanuli, it kind of really makes for an interesting contest as well. Obviously, and a great appetizer to next week, FuryUsyk as well. I know you've touched on the fight in previous 3 interviews that I watched you do, but kind of there's a great undercard as well in Saudi Arabia. What would you say your pick of the fights are?
I think the undercard's kind of it's been forgotten about, but just because of the magnitude of the main fight. But for me personally, just knowing Anto Cacace like I do, and being able to call Anto a friend and former stablemate, sparred loads of rounds with him, trained alongside him since the amateurs. I would love to see Anto Cacace become world champion by beating Joe Cordina. It's going to be a tough task for him. Cordina's really good fighter, but Anto can do it. I think there may be question marks about how easy it is now for Joe to make the weight, and if Anto can force a high pace, which a lot of times he doesn't, he likes to go through the motions, but if he fights at a high pace and kind of just leaves it all in there, comes out of the ring with no regrets, no doubt that he can win this fight.
Definitely, it's a very interesting fight between Cordina and Cacace. I do want to kind of move on to the Queensberry match from 5v5. I want to stick with the little guys as well. I want to talk to you about Nick Ball and Ray Ford. I mean, that must be a fight that you're very interested in as well, being in and around those weight divisions.
Yeah, look, I've only watched Ray Ford a couple of times, if I'm being honest, but I love Nick Ball. I think there's a lot to like about him. Really aggressive, little ball of muscle and energy, little bull really. Has quite a good job as well for a short guy. I'm looking forward to that fight. Ray Ford's a bit more slick, but he showed something that we hadn't seen in his last fight, where the kind of never say die attitude, and he won literally in the last seconds of the fight. So yeah, good fight. I think you're gonna make me pick a winner. I would have to say with Nick Ball.
No, definitely, and I feel like, talk about Nick Ball's jab where he was coming up against Ray Vargas, punching upwards, I think it was particularly impressive as well. One thing,
really good. I'll tell you what he could do, and I watched this, and I text who? Anto, no, who the fuck did I text? Anthony Crawler. I texted him after his last fight saying, a little dip jab Crawler used to do where he would dip his knees and throw a jab. See if Nick Ball could perfect that shot and watch a little bit of Crawler doing that. I think he becomes an even better fighter. Simple adjustments like that. So, I mean, he's a really good fighter, but still an improving fighter and still a kid. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
No, definitely, and I'm just gutted it's not a unification as well. One thing I do want to talk to you about, Carl, I watched a clip of you with Adam Cattrall and Gary Logan talking about the Ryan Garcia saga as well. It's not a nice thing to talk about in the realm of boxing, but I do want to get your follow up on your opinion on it. How much of a dangerous precedent does it set when you've got a fighter who before a fight does all the antics that he does, deliberately comes in overweight, and then now kind of isn't really complying with the whole kind of drug testing situation, denying it all, and people are still kind of supporting him? How much of a dangerous precedent does it set?
It's a bit odd, isn't it? I mean, he's whether it's accidental or not, he's failed the drug test. That's black and white. And for me, there's no room for error. I've known since I was an amateur that you can't take anything over the counter. Everything, you need to know what's going into your body at all times as a professional athlete, especially someone like Ryan Garcia who has all the money in the world. I just don't bet. I really don't bet. And it's kind of been forgotten about almost that how much he missed the weight by as well. So he was already getting into the fight with an unfair advantage by missing the weight, and then you see the field drug test. So it's wrong. But nothing's going to change. It doesn't surprise me in this game. And until the sanctioning bodies start handing out harsher fines, it's just going to stay the same.
No, definitely. And kind of, do you think kind of that's what it takes, kind of purse cuts and things like that? Do you think that's what it's going to take for it to stop happening?
I mean, fines, purse cuts, longer bans. There's a number of things that you could do to fix this or help fix the problem. But at the minute they're just not doing enough. You know, some fighters get 6-month bans, 1-year bans, but it makes no difference because a lot of fighters don't fight for a year. So there's nothing to stop them from doing it, and I just think that more needs to be done. I mean, you hear someone failing a test, it's just not a surprise anymore, and I think it's probably a little bit more rife than we'd like to believe.
No, definitely, and I feel like if you you're not kind of clued up on the thing, look into Liam Cameron's situation about the cocaine and PEDs.
So, Liam Cameron banned. I think he got a 4-year ban for having cocaine in the system, which isn't a performance-enhancing drug. I'm not condoning people taking cocaine, but if you're getting a 4-year ban for taking a party drug like cocaine, and other guys are taking stuff that improve their performance, they're getting 6-month bans or a year ban, or maybe no bans, then it's wrong, and something has to be done about that. But it's almost like they're making an example of people like Liam Cameron because he's not a big name, and it's unfair. It's really unfair, and the sanctioning bodies won't get the money if these big name fighters who are failing tests are not fighting. It's like, I mean, it's full of bullshit, really, and it's really a BMI bonnet. I just despise it and don't like it.
No, and as someone who was a clean fighter throughout his career, I'd no doubt it's going to put a bee in your bonnet as well, Carl.
It's just annoying. I mean, even like I said, from the amateurs, like it was drilled into me when I was on the Irish high performance team what I can take, what I can't take. I mean, at the point I was petrified if I had a cold of going and ban something for a flu over the counter. Like, I just don't buy it when people make the excuses that it's contaminated and all. You shouldn't be taking anything that possibly could be contaminated, and we're professional athletes. That's the life you have to live by.
No, definitely, and I will move on to a kind of a more positive note for yourself as well. The rise of kind of boxing in Ireland and Northern Ireland. I mean, obviously the old guard have kind of got. Obviously, you've retired, going into commentary. Katie Taylor and Mick Conlon, they're kind of moving on as well. But kind of, who do you see the next kind of stars of Northern Irish and Irish boxing are?
A lot of good fighters. Kurt Walker's a good fighter. Very, very skillful. Starting to improve. Got a good stoppage win in his last card. I think one of the issues with Kurt was people talking about his punching power, but it's looking like it's starting to come a little bit. And the thing is, he's very, very accurate. So the longer the fight's going on, he's going to be hitting you a lot. He may not be the biggest puncher in the world, but there's a toll that takes if you're being hit quite a lot. Anto Cacace could be a world champion next week. James McGivern's a good fighter. He hasn't fought in a while, but I'm pretty sure he's just don't know if I'm breaking any sort of announcement here, but I think he's just done a deal with Queensbury. Good fighter. There's a lot of good fighters coming through, and there's always conveyor belt. There's kids that I see, 14, 15-year-olds, amateurs, and you're looking at them going, they'll be a good pro in a few years. So I think boxing's very, very healthy on the whole island of Ireland.
No, definitely, and we'll keep an eye out for those guys. Carl, I know you're working tonight, so thank you for giving me your time before the fight night, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.